So I keep hearing a lot of talk about Elon Musk possibly walking away from DOGE. And it's hard to kind of know what's true these days because one article will say he's leaving, the next article will say he's thinking about it, the next article will say it's a possibility, the next article says he will be in a different role. So it's really hard to make sense of it, honestly. But when it comes to the question of will he leave DOGE, I think there's a bigger question, and that is what happens after he's gone, because in my mind, the damage is already done. And that really got me to thinking about not just Elon Musk, but Donald Trump and the entire Trump administration, because I could honestly say that about anyone in the Trump cabinet. RFK Jr. absolutely terrifies me. I think he's one of the most unqualified people in a very crucial role. And I get heated even trying to talk about him. But in a perfect world, if he was forced to resign or step down tomorrow, we would still have Donald Trump, who would pick the replacement, and we would go through the process of seeing who was next, and whoever was next would probably be more crazy than RFK Jr. if that's possible. And I could say that about anyone. Pete Hegseth, same way. I would love to see Pete Hegseth gone. He's clearly not qualified. He's clearly made a complete and total mess, completely bungled the whole thing. But who would be next? And the same even goes for Donald Trump himself. If tomorrow in a perfect world Donald Trump came out and gave the same kind of speech that Nixon gave, and it's like, here I hereby resign the office. If we had that same speech from Trump, none of our problems go away. Every day I have people reach out to me and they'll say, Brando, what do you think about a Trump impeachment? What do you think about Trump, resigning or things of that nature? And I'm like, well, even in a perfect world, if those things happen, we would still be stuck with the same problems, and maybe even more so. And people on our side would still have to find a way to connect with the working class. We would have to find a way to improve upon our messaging and get out in front of it all, and make people see that our ideas are the more popular ideas and our ideas are better for them in the long run. So the work would probably be even harder at the end of the day, because we would then have this big giant disaster that we would be trying to pick up the pieces from. And while people like us would be scrambling to pick up those pieces and try to start putting it all back together, there would still be a radical group of people out there that would be trying to make sure it never got fixed. They would be trying to muddy the waters of the argument. They would be trying their damnedest to tear it down if they could. Because the truth of the matter is, folks, and I think we lose sight of this sometimes, and that's why I drive this point home. What Donald Trump did when we say he hijacked the Republican Party, yeah, he absolutely did. He reshaped it and he rebranded it in his image. But they let him, and they were always that way. It's just kind of like when the new mob boss steps up and, okay, Michael Corleone really didn't seem that bad. If you're watching The Godfather Part 1, and you see that Michael don't want nothing to do with the family. Michael just wants to go off and do his own thing. He wants to be left alone. But when Michael gets in power, he becomes corrupt and even more vicious than Vito Corleone. So if we were to get rid of Vito Corleone and he was behind bars and we were all celebrating going, yeah, we don't have to worry about that guy anymore, there would be somebody come in his place, because they've always been there. For as long as we've been having elections, there's always been a radical group that has wanted to tear down what other people was trying to build up. And when people says to me, Brando, you grew up in the Bible Belt, you grew up in Appalachia. How did you end up on the left when so many people in your part of the world is on the right? And I do credit my mother and my grandmother and my Uncle Brad. I've always credited those three for being the main three that talked to me about politics. But I want you to understand that when they talked to me, they talked about the issues at hand. And they talked about helping people, helping others. They talked about new ideas. They talked about creating new ideas. They talked about solutions. And all I ever saw from the other side was trying to tear down what was already built, or say that the new idea or the new solution would never work. I've heard people and know people who I've known for 25, 30 years that 25 or 30 years ago was saying the minimum wage shouldn't be raised. That shouldn't happen. We can't do that. If we do that, I'll lose my job. They were saying that 30 years ago, and they're still saying it. Not to change their stance on that at all. No matter how much they complain about the grocery bill, They still don't think anyone should ever get a dime out of their work. They don't evolve. They never, the only thing they've done is just got louder with their racism and their bigotry. They've got louder with that. But at the core, they were always that way. Project 2025 isn't something that just popped up last year. It's been something that's been in the works going all the way back to the Nixon administration. This has been the Republicans' wet dream for years. And Donald Trump is who helped them achieve it. And he did so by getting in there, being a cult of personality, taking politics down an entertainment route, getting everybody invested in a story because they all grew up on a steady diet of reality shows. They watched him on the Celebrity Apprentice. You're fired. They didn't understand how government worked. They didn't understand how to make the solutions happen. They didn't understand how to come up with any new ideas. All they understood was that television format, and he steered it. And the Republicans out there that sometimes we give a pass to, we really shouldn't, because the Mitch McConnells of the world, who, by the way, I've never given a pass, but Mitch McConnell is a guy who I guarantee you when he goes home at night, he hates the ground that holds Donald Trump up. But you know what he did? He saddled up and got behind him because that's what they had been wanting to do the entire time. It was tear everything down. So if Elon Musk, Pete Hegseth, RFK Jr., Kristi Noem, the whole crazy cabinet of clowns, and Trump himself, and the fake hillbilly J.D. Vance goes back to Ohio, it ain't going to matter. We're still going to be right here in the same boat trying to fix the problems, and we're going to have people trying to tear it down. And that's something that I've learned and realized over the years when I talk to people out at protests. There's people that was like, yeah, I've got this same sign that I had in 1968, and I'm still holding this same sign, and I'm still standing for these same issues. And over here is a bunch of ignorant, brainwashed people going, we can't fix it. Can't do that, man. Oh, God, we can't have that. Well, what do you suggest? Well, let's just give Trump some time, man. He'll get it to work eventually. Yeah, well, Biden was doing things that was working. I can't believe nothing he says, man. Can't do that. Can't give people a living wage. We can't have health care, man. No, we can't do that. Well, what's your solution? Well, he's got some concepts of a plan. Whoopee. Didn't get us anywhere. He didn't get us anywhere in his first administration. He completely overshadowed the good things that Joe Biden did because he never shut up the entire time. And now he's back, and these morons are sitting there waiting for him to come up with his concept of a plan. He's going to show you. It's coming. Just wait. So, yeah, let them all go home. In the words of James McMurtry, let them eat jelly beans, let them eat cake, let them eat shit, whatever it takes. Go listen to James McMurtry, by the way. Listen to the song by James McMurtry called We Can't Make It Here Anymore. Listen to it. Actually, I'll tell you what to do. Just for shits and giggles, play along with me. Pause this video right now. Pause it. Go look up James McMurtry, We Can't Make It Here Anymore. Okay? Now, did you listen to it? Okay? Did you listen to it? Did you think he wrote that last year? No. Guess when he wrote it? It was 2004 or 5. It came out 20 years ago. It came out 20 years ago. He was talking about the issues at hand and how we can't make it here anymore. And we're still having the same arguments today against the same kind of people. I hope Elon Musk, Donald Trump, I hope they all take their ball and go home. I hope they fade out. I hope they're remembered in the same breath as Judas Iscariot, Benedict Arnold, and a Vanilla Ice cassette tape. I hope there's something that no one ever wants to admit they ever had anything to do with. But trust me, folks, there will be a group of people that will have looked at Donald Trump and went, well, hey, look what all he got away with. And that's been the most dangerous part this entire time, is that everything we set back and let him get away with, there was somebody worse over here going, you can get away with that as president. Presidents have immunity. And we may make it through the next 4 years. Hell, we may get a Democrat back. Who knows? But somewhere in our lifetime, there's going to be somebody look down and go, oh, wait, I have immunity? And then that's when it's really going to get bad for a whole lot of people. And that's something I think people really needs to stop and think about. I want them all to go home too. But we still got to keep putting the work in, and even harder if they do.